This is wall running, otherwise known as tramp wall, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to get your wall run from looking like this to looking like this. However, just a quick disclaimer, although the wall run isn't an inherently dangerous trick, still always practice with caution and stay within your own skill level to make sure you don't hurt yourselves while on the trampolines. This will be an in-depth tutorial which will cover a lot of things that you should and should not be doing while attempting the wall run. It'll have a lot of tips that I haven't seen on any other channels, so definitely stick around because the tips that will help you get to the top of the wall may be in this video. With that being said, let's get on with the tutorial. To perform this trick, all you will need is a trampoline, a wall, and a pair of shoes which have good grip. If you're wanting to learn a wall run, I'm going to assume you're already comfortable with the back bounce. If you are not, I will link a tutorial where you can learn that in the description below, then you can return to this point in the video. There are multiple ways you can enter into a wall run. For example, you can start with a cat jump by touching both hands and feet to the wall. You can start by jumping straight into the wall. You can start by laying down, dropping in, or by doing a flashy trick. But in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to start simply by standing on the padding and falling backwards onto your back. This is the easiest way to start off a wall run, especially if you're not confident or if you're learning this trick for the first time. However, if you are confident on a trampoline, I'd recommend starting off with a jump, as it'll be a little bit easier to gain height since you're starting off with some more momentum. To start, stand on the padding or the edge of the trampoline and fall backwards onto your back with your feet lifted in the air. Make sure when you land on the tramp, your back is completely flat and your head makes contact with the trampoline. Although this may be scary, you don't want to land with your chin tucked into your chest because eventually your neck muscles will get tired and you will end up getting whiplash. When we fall onto our backs, the further back you land, the more distance you will need to cover to return to the wall. You want your back to land fairly close to the padding, so when you bounce up, your feet can reach the wall. If you land far back, something like this may happen, where your feet are far away from the wall. If this keeps happening and you're struggling with this step, you can try bending your knees a little. It'll make you land a little bit closer to the edge of the tramp, thus making it easier to tap your feet to the wall. Try to get comfortable with this motion, as it's one of the fundamental steps to wall running. So now that you have mastered falling onto your back and touching your feet to the wall, we can start learning how to get some more height and some more control. This will be broken down into 4 key parts. They consist of bending your knees to retract into your chest at a 45-degree angle, aiming your legs to the top of the wall, pushing off the wall, and finally raising your chest so it's not parallel to the trampoline. I'll break all this down now. The first step is to make sure your knees are retracting into your chest when you fall into the trampoline, and then kicking them out to the wall as you bounce up. If you have mastered the back bounce, it's the same concept. The motion of your knees going in and out is what generates your bounce and gives you more height. Make sure your knees don't come in too early or too late, as it could kill your momentum and cut all your height off. Following this step, the place you aim your legs is also very important, and it's going to be the difference between climbing the small wall to climbing higher ones. Wherever you point your legs, your body will follow. So if you aim them right at the bottom of the wall, your first foot is going to go right to the bottom and you're only going to go as high as you can split your legs. Whereas if you aim your legs right to the top of the wall, you're going to go up to the top and you'll be able to step even higher. When you're bouncing, it's helpful to focus on your bottom leg and use it as a marker to try to get even higher on every bounce. When I wall run, it's my left leg that touches the wall first and I'm aiming it high but also slightly forward so I can travel into the wall. If you attempt this and something like this happens, it's probably because you aimed your legs too high, gaining a lot of height but not kicking them forwards enough. You need to find that happy median where you can gain height but still make your way towards the wall. Try to resist the urge of placing your foot on the padding as your first step. This is a bad habit to get into, which will limit the height that you can gain. If this is something you struggle with, you can try wall running with your feet and knees together. This drill is not only great for breaking the habit, but it's also good for seeing how high you can aim your legs. Although it's referred to as wall running, more steps does not equal more height. So instead of scrambling up the wall like a squirrel, you should follow this pattern. 2 steps up, 1 push down. When touching your feet to the wall, instead of just letting yourself fall after reaching the peak of your bounce, you want to push yourself down into the trampoline using the balls of your feet. If you have a split stance on the wall, you should use your top foot to guide yourself as you fall and shift your weight to your bottom foot and push off that one to get even more momentum going into the trampoline. The more force you use to push yourself down, the more force the tramp returns, resulting in a higher bounce. A common mistake I see when people first start pushing off the wall is that they push themselves backwards or do a hopping motion off the wall. Doing this sends you further backwards, and when bouncing back up, you won't be able to reach the wall with your feet. But going back to what I said previously, your body will follow wherever you aim your feet. So if you land far back, you can easily recover your wall run by aiming your feet straight towards the wall, and then once you regain your control, you can work on getting your height by aiming your legs high again. The last key step to wall running is the placement of your chest. When reaching the peak of your bounce, you should sit up so your chest is right up close to your knee. Altogether, the motion is almost like combining a lunge with a sit-up. Remember, the wall is there to help you, so the more you lean into the wall, the more control and hang time you will have. This will become crucial when learning harder tricks, which require a lot more control. Now when trying to get up onto the wall, bringing your chest forward is going to be very important, as you want most of your body weight over the wall to be able to lever yourself up. To do this, you want to lean forwards, trying to get your knee directly above your foot so you can stand up straight. What you don't want to do is have your back parallel to the tramp when none of your body weight is over the top of the wall, like you can see here. Here's a quick drill to help practice the correct motion. You want to find a step, or in this case the padding, and take a few steps back. Now standing where you are, try to step up onto the object. When doing this exercise, you should take note of what movements your body does to get up. Here you can see I shift my body weight to the first foot by driving my knee directly above it. I'm leaning forwards, keeping my arms above me to add more weight on top of the object. When comparing this drill to the wall run, you can see how similar the motion is. So let's review. When you bounce, you want to land relatively close to the wall and bring your knees into your chest when you fall. When bouncing up, you will kick them out and aim them high towards the top of the wall, which will give you height and allow you to travel in towards it, giving you more control. Your feet touch the wall in a split stance, and your chest should be raised up so it's higher than your knee. When pushing back down, use the bottom foot to push yourself down into the tramp to gain more height on your next bounce. When getting up on the wall, lean in to get most of your body weight over the top of the wall and get your knee above your foot so you're able to stand. Although some of these skills are relatively easy to perform by themselves, doing them all together could be a challenge, especially if you're new to tramp wall. A recommendation so you don't get overwhelmed will be to pick one of the 4 key skills and practice it until it starts to become part of your muscle memory. Then you can start adding the others on top and learning them all together. So that's all the theory done. But just before I end the video, I'm going to throw in some bonus content and show you the earliest clip I have of me attempting this trick and break down all the things that were hindering me from gaining height. So if you're still struggling with this trick, hopefully watching this next part will help you identify what aspects of the wall run you still need to improve. When watching this footage, the very first thing I notice is that I'm only kicking off the wall with my right foot. My left one isn't even touching the wall on the way down. My chest is raising up slightly, but it would help if it was a little bit higher. You can also see that my knees are retracting into my chest, which is perfect, but when bouncing up, my first step on the wall is way too low, which is limiting the height that I can gain, which is the biggest reason why I failed to get up on the wall here. Now just put everything you've learned together, and you should get something looking like this.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the wall running tutorial. If you learnt anything new, leave a like down below, or if you have any questions, you can leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. More videos are on the way, but in the meantime, subscribe to become a jack of all trades.